Welcome to IT Rockstars, folks. We help IT businesses and IT business owners. We also help just normal businesses connect with the right technology providers. Slight change on today's show. We have Karl W. Palachuck. He wrote this book a while back now, Managed Services in a Month. I was pretty fascinated by the book. It kind of hits the nail on the head for a lot of the industry, the IT industry. And I really want to pick his brain on a couple of topics in the book. So welcome to the show, Karl. How you doing?
Great. Thanks for having me. I certainly appreciate it.
No problem. So right into this then, Karl. What gave you the idea to write this book originally? When did you first write it, actually?
So I just released the third edition. The first edition was literally 2008.
Okay.
And, we'd been doing managed services for a while, even kind of before they started calling it that.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody sent me an email and said, managed services doesn't work for me. And so I wrote this blog post and I literally said, well, what do you mean? What have you tried? What have you not tried? Are you doing pieces of it, but not all of it? And then I just started writing a series of blog posts. And then I reorganized those blog posts in a more logical order. And I reprinted them on a web page. And then eventually I said, you know what, I'm going to fill this out a little. And then I wrote some more and turned it into a book.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then like 5 years ago, I revised that book and beefed it up a little more.
I think that's maybe the one that I've got here.
And yeah, that's the one you have. And then just this year, I added about 100 pages and 10 chapters to it, or 120 pages and 10 chapters.
So
now it's even more complete.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I guess the first edition was sort of pre-cloud. Would that be correct?
Well, I mean, the first edition sold a ton of books, and actually the term managed services, it's been the number one hit on Amazon for 10 years.
Wow.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Number one on Amazon for a particular category.
For the term managed services.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's pretty good. Yeah. Okay. So I guess next question we've got up here. The books, it's very much, I would say it's like a guide for break, fix, and ad hoc IT businesses that are trying to move into managed services. And it's pretty much laying out the steps in regards to what those steps are and how to do it. That's what I read in the second edition. What's new in the third edition? What's the fresh content?
So the first edition was really intended for truly break fix people to figure out how to do managed services. Mm-hmm. The second edition, I also added a lot of information for people who are in business, have been in business a while, and now they want to move over to managed services.
Yep.
The third edition, we added a lot of stuff on topics that hadn't been covered, including BDRs, how to figure out bundle pricing, and how to put together bundles that are going to sell well.
You'll have to excuse my ignorance. What's a BDR?
Backup and disaster recovery. Okay. So
all right. Okay.
Like a Datto or Accent, something like that.
Okay.
Because managing those things and putting them into a bundle are really where a lot of people can make a lot of extra money.
Mm-hmm.
So, and part of it is, this is really now, I think, a complete guide to managed services, no matter where you are in the process. I think that the third edition sort of takes you to the next level.
I see. Okay. And I saw in your YouTube videos, you talk about, I think it's the Cloud 5 pack. Is that part of the third edition as well?
I go into that a little bit. I use it as an example of the bundling, basically the Cloud 5 pack, for people who don't know, is that it is bundling your services and then selling them with 5 licenses for Office, 5 licenses for email, 5 licenses for spam filtering and remote management and so forth. And basically the idea is to try to figure out how you can bundle stuff and then get away from looking at margins, right? Because I think margins have held people back in this business for many, many years.
I see. Okay.
Because I think what you pay for something and what you charge for it should be unrelated to each other, right? No one's going to take remote monitoring agent and say it's $1.50, but I'm going to get 20% margin and sell it for $1.80, right?
Yeah.
Like that, right? We're past that.
Game over. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't base a business off of that. Okay.
So,
all right. So it's getting past that sort of the margin, and it's more about the value. Then I take it of what.
Yeah, and I encourage people to put together a bundle that's literally all the technology that your client needs in one bundle. Right? This is the core technology that you could sell again and again and again. And again, part of it is managed services needs to be a shift in mentality. You can't. A lot of people call themselves managed service providers, but they really just do reactive support, and they just get prepaid for it. And that's not what managed services is about. Managed services is about actually preventing problems from happening in the first place.
Yeah, not being reactive, proactive. Hi folks, just a short sponsored message from our sponsor, who are Bearattack SEO. This is a book all about search engine optimization, and it's specifically written for IT providers and managed service providers. So you may have a problem in your business, and that is true for many businesses in the IT managed service space, and that's generating more sales. The first thing to generate more sales is get more leads in the door, and that's what this book is all about. It's about using your website in the search engines to generate more leads. The book's specifically written with things like the golden keyword list, the keywords that you should be going after as a managed service provider or an IT provider. There's various things like that in the book. Anyway, check it out. Just Google Bearattack SEO and you'll find it there. That's our sponsor, and I'm proud to have them on the show. Anyway, back to the interview. Thanks.
Right.
Okay. So yeah, I guess one of the points in the book, now this is the one that I find kind of, I've worked in a managed service provider for 5 years, and the one thing that I questioned in the second edition was you mentioned billing your clients up front for both the monitoring, the license and all of that, but you bill them up front, not sort of at the end of the month. Have you had any sort of feedback from that advice?
Well, what's interesting is the people who haven't tried it are suspicious of it.
Yeah.
The people who have tried it think it's the greatest advice they've ever received in the history of their business. So
I think what I find difficult to understand with the advice, because I think it's a brilliant piece of advice, but it's the implementation. There's a big question mark. There's, all my other invoices that come to me, they don't ask for upfront payment. There's always this business to business, there's always a 30-day or a 60-day.
So I think that's a perception, but the reality is you pay your rent on the first day of the month. You pay the people who clean the windows on the first day of the month. You pay for your parking on the first day of the month, right? You have lots of expenses that are paid up front. And so there's several pieces of this for a managed service provider. First of all, service should be paid up front. Like up front, I have expenses for licenses for Office, remote monitoring, patch management, cloud storage, whatever. I have those expenses legitimately up front.
Yeah, the risk's on you. Yeah. Okay.
And so there's no reason not to get paid in advance for that. And my rule literally since about 2003 or 4 is all regular recurring revenue is collected on the first day of the month.
Okay.
And so that way you get prepaid for that. So literally day one, you have all of the money that you get from recurring revenue in your bank.
Yeah.
And so you get, then it's like an insurance policy. Like you get to keep all the money that you don't spend providing service.
And
you're motivated to keep clients' machines up.
I think, that makes so much sense, because you're motivated to, perform a good service because they've already paid for it. But there's also the other piece to it where you've got maybe a cash buffer, so if you potentially lose a client or something like that, then you've got that cash buffer if something happens to the business. So it kind of...
Well, also the transition to getting paid in advance is amazing, right? Because right now, like I've got a coaching client I'm working with.
Okay.
That, kind of their normal, it's a very acceptable given the size of his business. He has an accounts receivable of just about $200,000. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to collect that $200,000 and then we're going to get paid in advance for the next month. And there's going to be literally like this boom of cash flowing into his business as he catches up on the accounts receivable and then gets money in advance. And that transition is a beautiful thing. So the other thing is that, like hardware and software, there's absolutely no reason for you to loan money to your clients. You should put out a quote when somebody says, yes, let's do that. You send them an invoice. When they pay it, you collect the money, or you
that's when you order.
You order the hardware and software.
Okay. I think that's just brilliant advice, and it makes so much sense. I get moving on, probably onto we might have already covered this, but what do you think is the biggest difficulty for people moving from a break-fix model to managed services?
Well, part of it is they have this conversation going on in their head about, clients want this and clients want that. And I think you need to ask your clients and let them have their side of the conversation around stuff like, we frequently want to help save clients money, right? Mm-hmm. But that may not be the right choice. If a client didn't ask you to save them money, then I think you should take the approach of what's the best solution and go with that. And as you focus more on maintenance and preventive labor, it becomes easier for your clients to see that spending money with you is absolutely worth their while, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the reason I said that a lot of managed service providers don't actually provide managed services is that they get paid in advance for a flat fee, but they still wait till something breaks to go out and fix it. Yeah. And I think what you should be doing as a managed service provider is, the core piece of it is provide regular monthly maintenance, put in the RMM tools, put in all the patches, fixes, and updates. Yep. Mm-hmm. And then, as their machines get newer and their software gets newer, fewer and fewer things break, right? So when you get to the point where you move the client from, reacting to downtime to having zero downtime, suddenly they realize, wow, this really is worth the money.
Okay. Now, so you have that client for, 5 years. Now, I've known from personal experience, usually when it comes to IT, if there's no problems with the IT, then people don't think about the IT. How are you able to show the value at that stage when they've maybe been 3 years into your service and they're fully on board? How do you show the value in that when they maybe come to question pricing or,
Again, I think that's frequently, that's a conversation that you have in your head, but clients don't actually ask me that. I've never had a client say, what am I paying for after 5 years? Because after 5 years, they get it,
Okay.
But, part of it is you say, look, we are preventing problems, and I love to tell the story about, my competition has this closet full of pillows, and every Monday they take out the pillows and they kneel down and they pray that their customers' computers will break so they can feed their families. And I don't do that. What I do is I collect the money up front and I do all the preventive maintenance. And so I am motivated the same as the client. We're facing in the same direction. We both make more money when the computers are up.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Okay. All right. I'm going to have to remember that one. Okay. I've got one difficult question for you. It's maybe not a difficult question. The title of the book. This is probably for people that are starting new. They don't have a business yet and they want to start a managed service business. And that was actually the reason I bought this book, because I'm like, wow, I can get a managed service company up in a month. Now, from previous experience selling managed services in my business development years, the average sort of onboarding process or winning a client over and getting that contract signed, it was more like 6 months from, and that was maybe like an average of initial touch point with that lead that came in to them actually signing the contract. So I don't know, is this the term of this book? Is it a little bit misleading, Karl?
Well, so this isn't about getting sales. So this is about how you run your operation. And that basically in 30 days, I believe that you can do the things you need to do. You can get a contract and sign contracts with everybody. get recurring revenue, and move clients to that. So you're going to start by going to your existing clients and saying, I've got a better way to sell you these services. And then putting in the processes in place to make sure that you manage tickets appropriately, make sure that you have a ticketing system, have an RMM system, right? There's a lot of pieces that go into being managed services, and they can all be done. They can be put in place in your business in 30 days. That doesn't mean you're going to get a client day one.
Okay. I just wanted to ask you that question because, as I say, I know from personal experience that it's a 6-month slog anyway. It was for me anyway. That's why I'm not doing sales anymore. But okay, let's talk about the third edition then, Karl. When's it out?
So right now we've just finished a pre-launch sale, and we are going to have the electronic version of books out in December 2017, and the paperbacks in January. So it has a January 2018 copyright date, and the paperbacks will ship literally the first few days of January.
Okay, so I've got the second edition. I bought it over a year ago. Why would I want to buy the third edition?
Well, part of it is there's lots of new information. One of the reviewers looked at it and said, like, this is now the complete ultimate guide to managed services. So those are his words, not mine.
Okay, all right.
But, part of it is a much more mature look. I mean, it's now 5 years newer than that book, and really looks at what is the environment today. Because 5 years ago, we're in the middle of a recession, and that's not true anymore.
Yeah.
And so we have different challenges, and now the cloud is quite mature, and so we need to take that into consideration. And there are tools available today that simply didn't exist back then, or they weren't common and reasonably priced.
Yeah, they were kind of in their infancy. Okay. So yeah, definitely with the cloud there. I mean, I remember back, maybe talking about 2012, 2011, there was still some questions in people's head about the cloud and why would they want to move from on-premise. Okay, that makes sense.
Right.
Okay. Well, I think that's it, Karl. Where can people find you? What's your website?
So my website, my blog is at smallbizthoughts.com. And then the books, I have a bookstore going at smbooks.com.
Excellent.
So, and of course, these books will be available in January on Amazon and other electronic bookstores.
Okay, excellent. Okay, well, thanks for joining us, and I'll see you guys later. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.